I am definitely not good at making software overviews, and that's why I usually try to avoid them. But I was asked about this and I was curious about it myself because I have the Huawei P9 here and I have the Android N preview here. So I want to get into that and all the things that I found so far after using for about 2 hours. So not all that much, and if I find something more, I will definitely tell you. The first thing that I've noticed is on the lock screen you still have the old menu, but it looks a little bit different now with the shortcuts that we had before. A little bit different, but it still is the same. I personally don't think I will use it all that much, but there is one big annoyance here, and I hope they will actually fix this, because as you can see here, it doesn't look like I would have any notifications, even though I have, because once I get into it, I will actually see that I have a calendar set up. And now you might think maybe you set it up wrong. Personally, I don't think so, because as you can see, the calendar says lock screen display on the lock screen, so it should actually show it, but it didn't. So no notifications get shown here until you get into the system, and then it will show up. The good thing is still here that you can easily access the settings here. This is still nicely done, and overall I still like what they have done with this approach, but there are a few quirks where I will get into it. But let's first talk about the good stuff here. First of all, I like the notification chat now. It looks way cleaner, way nicer now. Let's actually get rid of that, and we will be able to see, if you swipe once again, you see the rest. Of course, you can still rearrange those and add some more if you want to. So this is all there, but I definitely like that is at least always one of the main ones available. We have the brightness slider, even though it still, as on any Huawei device, doesn't show the real brightness, because I am at 25% brightness, and this is definitely not 25%, but it's fine. If we go into the settings, we will see the next thing. They still look kind of like they did before, a little bit cleaner now, but I'm okay with that. We also have the suggestions. And I think just a few things aren't right where they should be yet. So we have a few settings that were a little bit in some different places before, but that is okay if they decide to make it, because now we have just one menu point for navigation that only shows you the navigation bar. So maybe this will be cleaned up in the future. But other than that, you can see you can still have the option to display the carrier name, the network speed, the battery icon. You can change that, as you can see here. This was all stuff that we already had before, so not all that much has changed here in terms of menu. So that is actually fine. One thing that I found actually that is quite nice in the developer options, that we have a DPI setting here. I just have to find it, give me a second. Not quite sure where it was. Here. Smallest width. You can change the DPI, and this is something really cool if you want to tinker with that, but I actually like that one here. In the battery mode, there is no option to change the mode anymore. Usually we had a kind of balanced mode and performance mode, and I don't see that anymore. Maybe this will get added, or I just missed it, because what it does is something super annoying in my opinion. If you enter any browser, as you can see, the screen dimmed, and as you can see now it gets actually brighter. Maybe it's not all that visible, but you will definitely notice this if you have a higher brightness. Because if I would set the brightness now to, let's say, 75%, go in the browser, it will dim. So it's not all that obvious on the camera for some reason. But believe me, it's there and it's annoying. I hope they will definitely fix that, because that is something that annoyed me on Lollipop. With Marshmallow, they kind of seem to have get rid of that, but it's fine. We still have pretty much similar app or home screen without the app drawer. Of course, you can use the third-party launcher, but the rest is still there. You can change the wallpapers, the widget, the transitions, and in the settings, we have the similar stuff. So it mostly changed in terms of design, but I actually like that. Of course, the one big thing to mention here is the recent apps, because if we, for example, launch now a few, get into those, launch, for example, Instagram, launch, for example, Palaber, and Google Plus, just so we have now you have the old Android style one, not the one that we have on Huawei. This is definitely a lot that something that a lot of people actually will prefer. And we have, of course, the split screen option. I think that one works great. It still sometimes shows that the apps maybe doesn't work if it's not officially supported yet, but I really like that you can arrange it in any size, and it looks really seamlessly, because on a Samsung phone it still looks kind of odd with the shade around. But if we actually go into the app, as you can see here, most of the apps work, and you can just tap on this and then switch the apps around, and you can of course also close them. So this definitely works out really nice. What I absolutely like is the double tap to switch to the next app, and it works super seamlessly, super fast. I absolutely love that. Other than that, we have also the kill all apps that we, I guess, don't have on stock Android. Not quite so sure. Yeah, but definitely looks nice. I definitely like that. One thing that I have to show off though is the apps, because as you can see now, these look, in my opinion, more than ever like iOS. I'm not quite sure. I kind of dig the style still, because iOS still, after all, is quite a clean and nice system, but it's definitely odd to see how much they went on that path, because it definitely looks different than it did before. But in terms of performance, it's not quite where the Marshmallow version was. But of course, that's obvious because it has to be updated yet. But most apps like this, for example, Phoenix runs absolutely fine. But Palabre, for example, here it is still okay if you scroll here. But if you enter the app, there is still a little bit lag left. Not a huge ton, but it's just not as super smooth. But the performance is already, I would say, at least 90%. And overall, I definitely like the multitasking. This is definitely something that is, I'm still not sure if I would actually use it all that much. I think I won't, but it's definitely nice that we have it here, and it works really, really nice and seamlessly. And I guess my main feature that I absolutely like is that we have this double tap to switch between the apps. This works so great. I definitely like the new notification shade, and there are a few more changes here. There are definitely other videos that show this maybe off a little bit better, but I just wanted to get into the main things. The design has changed a little bit, some of the functionality has changed, but there are still at least 2 annoying bugs with the lock screen, that we don't get the notifications shown until you actually unlock. This is kind of a security feature, but other skins actually allow this to be changed. So this is one thing, and the brightness change within the browser is something that I hope I can somehow fix. But other than that, I definitely like the approach. Still, the no app drawer is a thing. I think I've seen somewhere that it kind of can be enabled, or maybe that was just via a third-party launcher. I can't say for sure, but overall, definitely it looks cleaner. It looks like a mesh, because this looks a lot like it does on a Samsung phone with a darker theme. This still kind of looks like a mix between iOS and what Huawei did before. So there are those still the themes available. So if you use these, there are by these days quite a lot of Android N themes, and then you can actually make it look a lot like Android N, and then it will look even more so stock, because now even if you go into the music app, this looks still like the old one, but you definitely get a lot closer to stock Android with the recent apps. This is something that most of the people complained about. The notification drawer is definitely nicer because you don't have to swipe to the right and left anymore. So it feels definitely already way more than stock. The one thing that I want to get fixed, Huawei, please fix the lock screen. This is still not right, because I don't get my notifications on the lock screen. This is something that I personally just want to have. Other than that, the camera app didn't really change, and all the rest is, yeah, not really quite sure what I should show. In the advanced, you can still see what we have. We have the simple mode, security access and all that. Like I said, I'm not the best one in showing off these kind of things, but you have the floating dock, of course, motion controls. If you go into the flip to mute, we have the knuckle gestures, of course, all that works still. The one-hand UI, if you want to make that happen, as you can see here, this still works absolutely fine. Smart cover would work. Mirror share touch, this screen disable. The counts, the memory permission manager is there, as you can see here. So yeah, I definitely like the approach so far, but there is a little bit they have to change still. But other than that, it would have been it. I know it wasn't a great video, but if you still liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and if I find some more changes, I will maybe make another video. But that's it for now, and I wish you a nice day. Until next time, bye.